Welcome to Combat Network. Let's jump straight into it. What if one single event could turn the entire UFC landscape upside down? That's exactly what happened at UFC Saudi Arabia, where every round and every punch felt like it could change someone's legacy. From improbable upsets to simmering controversies, the MMA world was treated to a night of jaw-dropping drama. But that was only the beginning. Today, we're diving deep into the fights that made headlines, the hidden stories behind them, and the controversies that have fans arguing to this day. Michael Venom. Page's matchup against Sharaputin Bullet Magomedov was supposed to be a showdown of two lethal strikers, an explosive collision pitting MVP's flashy style against Shara's hype train. Yet from the opening bell, MVP took complete control. His range management, taunting, and lightning-fast jabs showed why he's still one of the most mesmerizing fighters in the game. For fans expecting to see MVP lose a step, he proved them wrong by shutting down Shara's offense. Sharaputin never got into his groove and looked almost baffled by MVP's speed. Commentators and fellow fighters were just as stunned. Some said Shara's aura of invincibility vanished in a single night. Others, like Derek Lewis, admitted they'd hate to be in the cage with a sniper like MVP. The conversation now shifts to what's next for Page. Is he ready for the top contenders at welterweight or middleweight? Could his unique style crack the UFC rankings if he sticks around? This fight may have been marketed as a star-making performance for Shara, but MVP flipped the script. He might be in his mid-30s, but if that performance was any indicator, we're about to see a new chapter in his career. And speaking of new chapters, the next fight on the card delivered a shocking twist no one saw coming. Once again, Israel Adesanya found himself on the wrong side of a finish, and people can't stop talking about it. Nassourdine Imavov, who is sometimes considered a step below the elite, ended up handing Adesanya another crushing defeat with a perfectly placed right hand in the second round. The real controversy began moments earlier when Izzy got poked in the eye but refused to take extra time to recover. It's the kind of moment that can haunt a fighter, that split-second decision to fight on when you're not 100%. Fans were torn. Some insisted the referee did everything by the book, while others thought the stoppage was just a hair too quick. Yet, it's hard to argue that Izzy wasn't in trouble. Imavov closed in with ground and pound, and by the time the dust settled, Adesanya was left protesting to the referee. Could it be that after so many wars inside the cage, Father Time is catching up to the last stylebender? Or was this just a perfect storm of an ill-timed poke and an opponent who capitalized on Izzy's compromised vision? For Imavov, the victory catapults him into serious title contention. The once under-the-radar contender has now pulled off the biggest win of his career, leaving fans asking, is this the dawn of a new era at 185? Interestingly, this wasn't the only controversy setting social media ablaze. Because in a world where calling someone out can lead to real-life gym wars, we now have to talk about a certain Scouser who took personal grudges to a whole new level. Paddy the Baddy Pimblett is never far from headlines, but even by his standards, this was wild. A video emerged showing him holding a choke in a gym scrap, way past an apparent tap. Cue the avalanche of criticism. Why would a rising star risk hurting someone in a friendly session? According to Pimblett, it was anything but friendly. He claims the two had a personal beef that they agreed to keep going until one was out cold, and that his opponent had been trash-talking some of his close friends. Though some fans think Paddy's explanation makes sense, others believe it's an excuse for poor sportsmanship. Paddy maintains it was all part of their terms. No tapping allowed, no quitting. If that's truly the case, the blame game becomes murky. For better or worse, Paddy's persona has always been brash, confident, and somewhat polarizing. This latest controversy only intensifies the spotlight on him. Will the UFC hold it against him, or is Paddy's star power too big to ignore? He's rumored to make his next appearance at the March 22nd UFC London card, so the chatter won't die down anytime soon. Speaking of the future, the heavyweight division could be on the brink of one of the biggest matchups in history, if the UFC can pull it off. Few fights have captured MMA fans' imagination, like a potential showdown between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. On one side, you have the legendary Jon Jones, widely considered one of the greatest fighters to ever step into the octagon. On the other, a surging heavyweight phenom in Aspinall, whose speed and technical prowess challenge the old guard's perception of the division. President Dana White insists it's the biggest fight they can make, acknowledging that fans are clamoring for it. But is Jones on board? Rumor has it that Jones wants a massive payday or he'll walk away, undefeated at heavyweight after dispatching Stipe Miocic. White even addressed the possibility of moving on if a deal can't be reached by mid-2025. That's the ultimatum. What happens if it doesn't come together? Fans fear a repeat of the Ngannou situation, where negotiations stalled and a big fight never materialized. But White says the promotion is working tirelessly to make it happen. He hinted at wanting to stage a massive must-see event by summer, possibly for International Fight Week. If the ink dries on that contract, it could be the biggest heavyweight clash in modern MMA. If it doesn't, the UFC will keep marching forward, maybe even with an interim title. Either way, the next few months could decide the future of the heavyweight division. And that's not the only division where a champion is itching to make major moves. When it comes to the lightweight king, Islam Makhachev, rumor and speculation are par for the course. Ever since he dispatched Renato Moicano, stepping in as a late replacement with shocking ease, talk shifted from who he'll defend against at 155 to whether he's aiming for a belt in another division. Dana White's cryptic comments have fueled conspiracy theories. Is the UFC plotting a super fight at welterweight? Could we see Makhachev go after welterweight gold if the timing is right? Arman Tsarukyan was supposed to be the next man in line, but a back injury pulled him from contention. That left an opening for last-minute drama, and fans questioned if Tsarukyan was truly hurt or if the UFC simply lost confidence in him. White won't confirm or deny anything, only teasing that big things are coming for Makhachev soon. Whether that means a Gaethje matchup, assuming Gaethje gets past Dan Hooker, or a different angle altogether, no one's quite sure. But here's what we do know. Makhachev has openly voiced his desire to test himself against bigger fighters. He craves the challenge of conquering multiple divisions. If the UFC greenlights him to move up to 170, we could be looking at the next champion trying to secure a champ legacy. That is, unless the next wave of contenders at 155 puts those plans on hold. Meanwhile, the middleweight division has its own drama swirling, especially among fighters who love to stand and bang. Sean Strickland's no stranger to outspoken trash talk, but his critique of Dricus du Plessis has fans raising eyebrows. He claims DDP's striking is awkward and nothing special, yet the South African remains undefeated in the UFC because of that very style. Some fighters rely on textbook fundamentals, while others baffle opponents with unorthodox, explosive tactics. Dricus certainly falls into the latter category. In footage from the UFC 312 Countdown show, Strickland dismissed the idea that DDP's stand-up skills are on his level. He pointed out that many believe du Plessis had no business trading punches with the likes of Israel Adesanya. Yet, DDP defied those expectations. Strickland sees himself as a more polished striker, contending that any advantage Dricus has is purely based on raw athleticism and unpredictability. But as MMA history has shown, unorthodox can be lethal if you're not prepared. The champion's confidence is through the roof, but is he underestimating a hungry contender? If everything goes the way the UFC envisions, we might see them lock horns, and the result could reshape the middleweight hierarchy once again. Before we get to that, though, a few more interesting updates have popped up for other divisions. If you thought Kevin Holland's grappling woes would keep him out of welterweight, guess again. Word on the street is that Holland is officially returning to 170 to face Gunnar Nelson at the UFC London card in March. Holland is coming off tough back-to-back losses, including a submission to Renair Gracie-trained grappler Rinat Fakhretdinov, hypothetical example, and a TKO loss to Roman Dolidze. Now, he's once again stepping into the cage with another ground specialist in Nelson. Some fans question if he's biting off more than he can chew. Others say his willingness to fight anyone, anytime, is exactly why the UFC loves him. Meanwhile, whispers of former Bellator champion and PFL competitor Vadim Nemkov joining the UFC have gathered steam. Dana White didn't outright deny it. Nemkov is widely regarded as one of the top 205-pounders outside the octagon, riding a tremendous win streak. If White brings him on board, we might see an intriguing injection of new talent in the light heavyweight division. Could Nemkov become the next big thing at 205? Or will the UFC's old guard shut him down? All these moving pieces, the welterweights, light heavyweights, middleweights, and even heavyweights, hint that 2025 could be one of the most active and surprising years in recent UFC memory. The only question is which storyline will explode next. UFC Saudi Arabia pulled back the curtain on a sport that's evolving faster than ever before. We saw Michael Venom Page revitalize his career by neutralizing Shara Bullet. We witnessed a once dominant champion in Israel Adesanya suffer another setback, sparking debate about whether he should have taken more time to recover. Paddy Pimblett's choke controversy highlighted just how personal grudges can get, even outside of sanctioned bouts. Meanwhile, the potential heavyweight clash between John Jones and Tom Aspinall has the MMA world on the edge of its seat, and Islam Makhachev's next move remains shrouded in mystery. Add in Sean Strickland's outspoken take on Dricus du Plessis, and the possibility of new faces like Vadim Nemkov entering the octagon, and we're staring at a veritable powder keg of possibility. The only certainty is that these stories will keep evolving. Will John Jones sign on the dotted line for a summer showdown? Can Adesanya bounce back, or is Nasruddin Imavov destined to become the division's new powerhouse? And is Paddy's reputation forever changed, or do fans just love a villain? Let us know which storyline you're watching most closely. Has MVP finally proven he can hang with the best? Is Pimblett's hype still justified, or did this controversy change your mind? Drop a comment with your hot takes, and don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be here every step of the way, dissecting every round and every rumor in the wild, unpredictable world of MMA. Stay tuned, because in a sport where legacies can crumble in seconds, there's always another twist just around the corner. Until next time, keep your guard up, stay curious, and prepare for whatever surprises the MMA world throws our way.